this is Rock. We're going to look at the Edate and Eomonth functions. So each of these helps us do math with date fields. What we're going to look at first is the Edate. Let's put a couple of dates in here as examples. Okay, let's say we want to know what is 6 months from this, what is 15 months from this, and what is 36 months from these dates. For figuring out the 6-month date from the date, let's do Edate. What you want as the first argument is the start date and then the number of months. So I'm going to put a reference to that. So it gives us that serial number. If we want to format that as a date, we can. And so it tells us that July 24th is 6 months from the January 24th date. That's somewhat intuitive, but it's very helpful to have that exactly calculated. If I copy this and I put this here, obviously I forgot to make the reference absolute. If we want to copy and paste this here, we're going to want to peg the start date to column G, and we'll also want to peg the months number to row 5 so that we can copy and paste this into these other places. So I'm going to copy that, paste that there, paste that there. What's this saying? This is saying that 15 months after January 24th of 2026 is April 24th of 2027. And then 36 months after it, it's in 2029. So that seems pretty intuitive. If I copy these and paste them here and here and give some space there, we've got the 6-month marks, 15-month marks, and 36-month marks from these start dates as well. That is what the Edate function can do for you, which is fabulous. Another thing, though, that you may want to do here is you may want to get the end of the month, because end of month often signals things like that's when we need to bill, or that's when the contract says this needs to be done by, things like that. So the end of a month date is very important to be able to capture. Let me get these dates and put them down here. And now what we're going to do is use the end of month. So I'm going to say end of month from, this is the start date again, and then the number of months is this. So now when I close that, well, let me copy the format with Format Painter. Instead of saying 7/24, it's saying the end of that month, which is 7/31. Again, let me peg as an absolute reference, the reference to the G column, also to row 5. If I copy this and paste it here and here, it's giving me the end of the month here, which is April 30th, even though it's not just putting it to a 31, it's actually smart enough to know that April only has 30 days. Now when I copy this down to here, this is going to give me the same kind of thing, the end of month 6 months later, 15 months later, and 36 months later. So that's the difference between the Edate function and the end of month function, Eomonth. That's the difference between those two functions and where you would use them. Next, we're going to look at the functions for weekday and week num. See you there.